Great, testing the audio. Um, so, looking at this, so basically, where we last left off is we're building essentially this form. This is kind of the finished product of what we're supposed to do. So, if you look back, this is one of the challenges: build a survey form. Um, and we've been kind of building this to show what we know, and we applied this to GitHub as well. So all the code is on GitHub. So if I were to log in GitHub, which I'm probably not logged in. Hold on. One moment. So right here, so all the code is in here. We were working on it through IntelliJ IDEA, so this is a styles spreadsheet. It's very small right now, the external style sheet. This is the main file. This is the code, so the code is accessible, so I can even look at this code from a phone or anything. There's a GitHub app. But again, the point of having GitHub is you can have access to all the versions of what you're working on. So, but we did come to a problem where what we did end up building did not end up to be, well, it did meet the requirements. It didn't end up meeting, it didn't end up looking very good. So I think we can run the test again. I'm gonna do refresh. Let's run the test again, because we were able to save the code as we work on it. So oh, this code isn't up to date. Let's actually bring the code from here. Last time, because this code did pass the requirements. So hold on, it's going to be as simple as this. Let's see, let's rerun this test. Let's save that new code and run all this stuff. So now it says, it's giving me the thumbs up that it's telling me to actually go into the next challenge. Again, I just downloaded the challenge. But it's giving me the green light that it's asking me to go to the next project because it passed all the tests. So as you can see, it did pass all the tests. But the problem still does lie that if you look at this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what it's supposed to look like. This clearly doesn't look design-wise nearly as good as this. So kind of the goal is, even though it does meet the technical requirements, the design is horrible. The design needs a lot of work. So basically from here on out, we're gonna try to get this kind of website to kind of figure out to fill in the gap between this and this. So you're going to look at the code, page source, and kind of explore. So we're actually looking through the code. Yeah, I did open the tabs, but so I just want to show that how you can kind of examine a website is, all I really did was I hit right click and view source, and now I'm seeing code. Then it refers, so it's an HTML document, has a head, right, has a body, the end body tag is here. Looks like it is referring to an external style sheet. So if we click on it, we actually can access. So if you notice, it kind of presents itself like a link that we can click, and then we can access this external style sheet. So this is kind of the design that it took to get to this. In fact, how about we see what happens if we copy this as the external style sheet and present it here. So maybe it's just all in the external style sheet. Who knows? Styles.css. So we have a very small style sheet. Actually, we can probably have that too. Let's just see what happens. Boom. Look at the huge difference that made. Look at that difference. That's how much the style sheet made the difference. We went from this. No, we went from how it looked before. I mean, you saw how it looked before. It had no coloring, nothing. And we were trying to get to this, and now this is an enormous leap. Not sure if we can go back. I think we can. Hold on. Hold on. I'm just trying to figure this out. So we went from this. This is before. And again, not changing anything to do with the main code. This is all on the style sheet. Boom. And we get this. So I think that's indicative that most of what kind of makes this website really designed well and look good is the style sheet. Because we had the same website and it looked like crap before, and now all of a sudden it's a lot better. So alright, so that's one thing we observed. Let's just take a look at the code. So it looks like we have, an HTML tag. We have the doc type. That's making an HTML5 document, right? Right there. We learned about that. We have an HTML, we have a head, we have the link, we have the closing head, and pretty much without this, really well done style sheet that's linking to, the website is going to look very similar to even our website that we built. Okay, looks like we have a div under the class container. Okay, so class container, let's check it out. Container, so then it'll make the width 100%. It'll have the margin it'll set the margin. I think this is in clockwise. Actually, we can probably go back if I duplicate it. If I duplicate this tab. So everything is saved. It's right here. Let's just go back to what we did learn. Can we go back to margins? That's P elements. That's C91. Oh, this is looks like this has to do with margins. Hold on. So I think all this is doing is, I think how the margin works is, let's actually set it to something. It would be nice if the vertical space between H2 elements and their associated icons was smaller. The H2 elements have default top and bottom margin space, so you could change the bottom margin of the H2 elements to say 0 or another number. There's an easier way to simply add a negative top margin. One moment. Negative top margin to the image elements to pull them from their current positions. Negative values are created using a negative in front of the front value. So we learn about margins. I'm actually going to try to find a definition. One moment. So I got this definition that says in web development design, the margin of an element represents the outside space of the element itself, while the padding represents the inner space surrounding the element. It's important to understand how different components such as padding and margins come together to separate text and graphics. So it's kind of like, the way to think of it is, let's say this is an element. This is in a div or something. It's like, imagine at that like a block, right? And within that block, if you create the margin really big, then essentially that'll mean that it'll kind of say it'll be that much distance that all the other elements have to stay away from that element. So it's basically like having a fence. It's like you have the element, or there's a paragraph, whatever it is, and then there's going to be a certain amount of distance that other elements need to keep from that element. Well, padding is it's a space inside of the element. moment. Let's go to some other stuff. Um, okay, so that container means that all of this code is now applied. All these styles are now applied. Now, within that, it's going to have a class header. So now we look for the class header. Or I can maybe control F it. Header. So then within that, these styles are going to be kept. Other than that, H1 title ID title class text center. So let's look for this class text center. So basically, that's another class that makes a text line center. So these styles are being applied to those elements. There's a label. Pretty much it looks very similar to ours. I mean, this doesn't really look that much different. It's just the only difference is the style sheet. So if you notice, like how much different is this code, right? This is a code of how it's supposed to look to this. This is our code. And this is their code for the HTML document. But if you do notice, the difference is in the style sheets. So from here on out, I think the focus is going to be examining this style sheet and how everything applies and ties it all together. But I think that if anything was gained from this tutorial, it's understanding that the real difference maker from once we've got the website to meet the requirements of the project, when it passed the tests, what was the difference between getting it to the level of design that it was supposed to get to, and the answers clearly found to be the style sheet. So yeah, so I'm actually gonna end it off. I kind of want to separate them into the tutorials into kind of their goal, but pretty much after these tutorials, it's going to be um, kind of refocusing on the CSS and just making sure the understanding is good at well enough for CSS so that we can replicate it. We can replicate this result, because not only do I want to, the goal is kind of to learn and examine, like how websites can be designed well, but we also want to learn the skills so we can replicate, good design. So yeah, I'm actually gonna end it here though.